All right, folks, we are now joined by Nick Cougar, the sports editor of the Gloucester Daily Times. How you doing, Nick?
Doing good. How's it going with you guys?
All right,
Yeah,
considering,
all things considered, right? Exactly.
crazy times. So we wanted to connect with you and talk about the recent cancellation of all spring sports.
Mhm. Yeah, so actually, there's still some hope on the local level. So I know that the NCAA has called them off completely. So there's no college spring sports this year. But on the high school level, there's still a glimmer of hope. So at the moment, the MIAA has the spring start date of April 27th. So that'd be the opening day for tryouts. And I think there's about a week preseason. They can start to get games going a week after that. But obviously, this is a really fluid, situation. It's obviously subject to change. I know they had originally pushed it to March 30th, and obviously that deadline was not going to happen. So they switched it back to April 27th, and it at least sounds like they're doing everything they can to try and salvage something this spring.
Yeah.
Could you just say what the MIAA is next?
Oh yes, that's the Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association. So the governing body for high school sports in the state.
Okay, so girls, boys, JV, varsity, every spring
Yep.
sport, right?
Every spring sport, yes.
From
Mhm.
golf to tennis to baseball and softball, all those.
Yep, every single spring sport I believe is under the MIAA umbrella. I think cheerleading is the only one that is not for some reason.
Okay, all right.
So,
So,
Nick, have you had a chance to speak with any of the student athletes yet and have their reaction to the shutdown?
Actually, that's what I'm in the process of doing right now. So actually, at the moment, I'm doing kind of a little all decade series, and then that's kind of my next line of business. Get in touch with some of these athletes, see how they're preparing, for the upcoming season if they even have it. I mean, it's a very you know odd scenario where they could be practicing for a season that they might not even get to play in.
Yeah, right.
are they allowed to practice though? They probably aren't.
Not as a team, they cannot. So they maybe do something in their backyard. I just saw a New York Yankees pitcher was playing catch with his wife outside in their backyard to stay loose. So anything they can do like that, they're allowed to. But there are no captains practices, no obviously no sanctioned practices with coaches.
Right. We talked to a pediatrician, Dr. Brian Orr, last week, and he identified a situation where he was driving by a ball field and saw some high school kids out there playing ball, and he was like, "No, you can't do
Yeah.
that." You know,
Mhm.
these things we take for granted, particularly in the spring.
Mhm.
Just can't happen, and it's a strange situation, right?
It sure is. I mean, I'd never seen anything like or envisioned anything like this happening with, just sports being completely wiped out across the board.
Right, right. And is there any conversation about them trying to stay fit or stay? Well, you were talking about this pitcher,
Mhm.
but the high school kids, what?
Yeah. So they kind of just have to be all on their own. They'd have to make, I'm sure they've been corresponding with some teammates, what workouts to do and stuff like that, but they can't, do anything together. It's got to be on their own, which is tough for, I'd say every spring sport.
Right, right.
And slightly off topic, because I wonder if this bleeds into the Little League season,
Mhm.
and then get in towards, dare I say it, but Fiesta this year
Yeah.
too.
hmm well, the Little League season has also been pushed back. So April 6th was, the National Little League set that as the start date, and that's also in jeopardy. They haven't announced yet that date has been pushed back, but I'd probably expect that to happen at this point. April 6th is next week, and I don't think they're going to be able to start getting out on the fields by then.
Yeah. So what kinds of stories you're working on this best of the decade series, right?
Yeah, yeah. So local, hoop and hockey teams. It's been fun to put together. I like, looking back and reminiscing all the great players that have been in the area. And, usually I don't have enough time for this stuff in between seasons, but I got some time for it now. So I decided, now might be a good time to put that together and then, jump into some more newsy stuff, hopefully coming up in the next week.
Yeah.
Nick, how about the best high school tennis teams of the early 90s?
Who could that be? Who could have been on one of those?
Just throwing things out there.
Excellent.
Yeah. So now I guess it's just sort of a wait and see approach, right? Whether that's from the MIAA or state mandates, et cetera, to see what happens next.
Exactly. Yeah. And luckily they have some time. If things get better, I mean, I could assume that maybe they could bump that up because April 27th, I mean, at least it seems like a long time away, but I think that they'd be pushing that date. I mean, at this point, I don't know what to expect. I didn't expect any of this. So I don't know if April 27th is a date that we can expect to see, kids back out on the fields, but, I know if they miss that date, the MIAA said they still might try to salvage something, but if they don't hit that April 27th cutoff, there'll be no postseason. So there'll be no state champs if they don't get going by the 27th.
Yeah, interesting, because I wonder if they could even legally do things outside of the school year, like in the summer, make up dates.
Yes. June 20th has to be the cutoff. They have to be done by June 20th.
Okay. Well, I'll be really interested to find out what you do learn from the student athletes and their reaction. And so keep us posted on that. And we'd love to stay in touch with you about this and other subjects as well. But we appreciate what you do, Nick. And
sure.
Be safe and be well,
Thanks. You guys too. Appreciate the time.
We'll be in touch.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Bye.